I think the thing I love the most about video is, again, it's a storytelling aspect, and it's a way to connect with people in a much deeper level than, say, copywriting. A photo is great. Copy is fantastic. Your website copy, that's all important. But, video it's everything, right? It's visual, it's sound, it's words, you can control what people see and when they see it, the timing, the pacing, everything about it is about driving your viewer to action in one way or another. You kind of coax them into feeling a certain way, and in such you can coax them into doing something, you motivate them to action. And when I first got into video, it was really just for fun. It was to do short film and do creative things like that. And after a few years, I discovered I could leverage those storytelling tools and the storytelling aspects that got very familiar with, and leverage that for business, and to use those same techniques to help businesses attract customers, drive more traffic, and ultimately grow their business and make money.
Welcome to another episode of the Health Coach Academy podcast. I'm your host, Omar Cumberbatch of OmarCumberbatch.com. As always, appreciate you joining me. And if you have been joining me for a while, which I know many of you have been, it's really interesting when I get a guest who talks about video. And basically what I always admit to is the fact that I really enjoy going behind the scenes in a lot of things, right? And I don't like to put myself necessarily in front of a camera or in front of audience necessarily. And I really like the medium of podcasting because I really just think I'm having a conversation and it's really casual. It's not something that I feel like is really putting myself out there. I guess I don't know if it makes sense to a lot of people, but that's why I really love the medium of podcasting. I'm very comfortable in it. I'm not comfortable going in front of a camera, but every single thing that I've heard over the last 5 years really just moves me in the direction of the necessity of video, right? And so whenever I have a guest who comes on and really presents it to me in a way that makes logical sense, I'm like, man, I got to get over this and get me into some video, because that's just what it is. Even in my podcast course, that's the first thing that one of my mentors had recommended, is like, you need to do a video for each module. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to do video, but I did it. I pushed through it, and it's a learning experience as well. Just it's a different thing that I had to learn and push through, but it seems to be getting very well received, at least as far as I've been told. So I think it does have its place. So that was one of the things that I really appreciate, having today's guest Orland Gomez come in and really just reiterate the necessity for us to make true connections through video. Obviously, because you see a face, you see your reactions, you get to know a person a lot better. And of course, in anything with this kind of business in the service industry and a health coaching space, it's about know, liking, and trusting. So that just amplifies that ability for us to do exactly that. So Orlando is a video marketing expert and the founder of Stellar Lens. And he just comes on the show and just breaks down all these different tactics about how we can utilize video in our business. And he also gives an awesome giveaway at the end. Please stay till the end and take it up. You will not be disappointed. And I really appreciated his time with us, and I really had a great connection with him. So as always, leave a rating and review on iTunes so I can continuously get great guests like Orland Gomez. And let's jump into the show. Hey, Orlando, welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm doing fine. Omar, thanks for having me on. I'm excited to chat with you.
Yeah, listen, I'm very excited to pick your brain about everything that you do, specifically like the video component to things. And obviously this is a podcast that we aren't doing video, which I'm sorry about that. I know it's out of your wheelhouse a bit, so I appreciate you working with me on that end. But I'm going to be eventually getting more accustomed to this video stuff when I get my situation straightened out, which I talked to you off air a little bit about.
Yeah, no, that's all good. Not a problem at all. Yeah, I'm used to my setup being a little excessive for what people are used to seeing, because, I do video. So, I have all the tools lying around in my office. So I just set them all up and, Yeah, I can't help it.
Well, you look the part. You look the part. So one of the things I wanted to jump into is just basically give the audience a little bit of an opportunity to get to know you a little bit better, your background, and how you came to get so into the video component of your business and what you're doing nowadays as part of your business.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I guess just to start off, I mean, I'm a creative by nature. That was my thing growing up. I was the scrawny nerd in a family of athletes, so I didn't quite fit in there. But I found my place and I found my people in art and computers. Did a lot of dabbling with computers when home PCs were first becoming kind of a big thing, and then that led into acting and then video production. By junior high, I was shooting short films with my family's handheld camera, home video camera, and it's just what I loved. I could, it was an opportunity to express myself, to be different person, different character, and just create. I think at the end of the day, that's what I loved the most, was telling stories, creating things that previously didn't exist, right? Like it's you're making something out of nothing. And that was always a passion for me. So I did that through junior high, high school, started my company as soon as I graduated high school. And I've been working in the video space ever since. So that's going on 17 years now. 17 years. I've worked with all kinds of clients in every industry. But right now our two main focuses, or two verticals, if you will, are the service-based industry. So professional services, so coaches, doctors, lawyers, dentists, things of that nature. And then solar companies, because my family owns a solar company. So I kind of got pulled into that. But yeah, so I do that. I dabble in film and TV. I actually just wrapped production on a feature film last month that led right into production on a proof of concept for another film. I've worked on a number of docs. So I'm anything in the video space, I'm there.
Oh, wow. That's great. So what is it about video that you're so into, and why is it such a powerful medium today?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the thing I love the most about video is, again, it's a storytelling aspect, and it's a way to connect with people in a much deeper level than, say, copywriting. A photo is great. Copy is fantastic. Your website copy, that's all important. But, video it's everything, right? It's visual, it's sound, it's words, you can control what people see and when they see it, the timing, the pacing, everything about it is about driving your viewer to action in one way or another. You kind of coax them into feeling a certain way, and in such, you can coax them into doing something, you motivate them to action. And when I first got into video, it was really just for fun. It was to do short film and do creative things like that. And after a few years, I discovered I could leverage those storytelling tools and the storytelling aspects that got very familiar with, and leverage that for business, and to use those same techniques to help businesses attract customers, drive more traffic, and ultimately grow their business and make money. And so that's what I did. It went from being a creative passion to a full career that I think I do pretty well at.
Oh, no, obviously, yeah. I'm really excited to let the audience check your website out. It's really very compelling, and obviously your work and your portfolio is really amazing. And that's one of the things that I find interesting about video, is that I had a guest on a video content maybe about a year and a half ago. And one of the things that they said was really interesting was the fact that because you are on video and you're showing your face, doing what you like selling, it's something in our human nature, apparently, that makes it more important when we actually see the person in front of you. Is there anything to that?
Absolutely. So there's actually two different fields, two different methodologies. There's one which I think is more common and more appropriate in the coach field, and that's just being yourself and letting the audience see you. The reason for that is because you drive a personal connection. At the end of the day, I'm sure you know, and your audience know, you're selling yourself, right? I
Mhm.
mean,
Yeah.
there's thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of coaches out there, all selling more or less the same service. But what makes it unique to you is you and how you go about it. It's your personality, it's your coaching style, it's the way you talk, the way you carry yourself. People are drawn to different types of people and different types of personalities. And so when you create video, you allow your audience to see you for you and how you are. And so when you create those marketing videos, it's very important to be that authentic you don't want to go and create this clean professional looking video if that's not your style.
Mhm.
If you're a down and dirty, like, I don't want to hear your excuses, get your butt up and get to work kind of a person,
Mhm.
great, do that in your videos, be that person, because that's gonna two things are going to happen. You're going to repel a bunch of people who don't like that, but you're going to attract the people who love that and who need that. And
Mhm.
that's ultimately who you want to work with, right? You're kind of doing yourself a favor by culling the audience and only attracting the people that you actually want to work with, right?
Mhm.
I'm sure you've ran into this a number of times. I run into this all the time, where people will reach out and they think they want your services, and you start to have this conversation. You do the discovery call, and you find out you're not really a great fit. They don't
Yeah.
they don't want to follow your process. They don't like your style or otherwise. And so when you can be an authentic you through video up front, you weed those people out. They don't even reach out to you. So
Mhm.
the people who are reaching out to you are, one, they're a warm lead. They know they need your service. And two, they already know what you're about and what you're like. So they're not going to have a problem with who you are. So it just makes your sale that much easier.
Yeah, no, definitely 100% agree. So one of the things that I wanted to jump in on is how do we pick what's our right platforms? I know we have local TV, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. Like, how do you sit down with a health coach and kind of guide them to what that you think is going to give them the biggest return on their investment?
Absolutely. That's tricky. It really is. I think it's safe to say some of the bigger, more traditional mediums like radio and TV, broadcast TV, probably aren't the right space for that.
Mhm.
One, it's really expensive, and two, might not be catching people where you want them. You have a lot less control over who sees it.
Mhm.
Um, Really, social media is a strong place to be for any kind of personal, professional service type industry. Um, you know, Personally, I'm not a big fan of TikTok, but
Mhm.
dude, there are people who are crushing it on TikTok because they're either one, it's their personality, or two, their persistence. If you have the personality and the drive to create regular content, and you can give these little, tidbits of information that people are hungry for, and just kind of present yourself as this expert, you're going to thrive there, right?
Mhm.
Um, but I think like the safest and cleanest approach is just your Instagram, your Facebook. Even if let's say your particular coaching service is geared more towards um, professionals, so working professionals, entrepreneurs, the working parent, the working mom, the working dad. Um, then LinkedIn's going to
Mhm.
be a great place for that, because those people are already networking in that space. That's usually where you're going to find more professional people. So target that. Spend more of your time creating content, and your ads spend there.
Mhm.
Really, at the end of the day, it comes down to two things. Know your audience as best you can. Know where they are, know where they're looking, when they're on, what type of content they're looking for. Create
Mhm.
that. But two, just do something, right? Like, it does you no good to plan forever and try to analyze everything to death, and then you just don't make anything, you don't put anything out. Then no one's going
Right.
to see you anyway. So you might as well just get out there and tweak it as you go.
That's a great point. That's one thing that people are so afraid of initially is like, oh, I'm gonna make it messed up or something like that. Like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I agree. That's a big thing we run into just in marketing in general, right?
yeah,
Um,
no,
people are always afraid with their businesses of doing the wrong thing, right? Because, we put our heart and soul into what we do. We love what we do. We've put time and effort and energy and money into growing our business. We don't want to make a false move that's going to hurt our business, lose us money, lose us reputation, lose us customers, et cetera. But there's, like everything, there's a balance. You don't also want to be so concerned and so conservative that you just don't do anything and you grow stagnant, and you don't grow, right? And so and so part of my job is to walk people through that process, right? Is to walk them through and present them with the best options and the best strategies for what they're trying to accomplish. One of the things I always tell people is, I don't like making a video for the sake of making a video. At the end of the day, if you just want to throw money out and say, hey, I need a video, just make me a video. This is what I want. Do this thing. I'll take your money. I won't really like that I'm doing that. But I also can't guarantee you, not that I can ever guarantee you success, but I can almost guarantee that it's not going to do what you think it's going to do, because you need the proper groundwork, right? Yeah. So what we do is we walk through, identifying your ideal client. What is your business growth goal? Where do you want to be? Do you want to have hundreds of thousands of followers and you want to sell these little kind of automated pre-made sessions, video session series that people can just buy and for, $20-$30 a pop, and, just kind of nickel and dime people? Or do you want to have just 10 solid clients that you're charging $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a year for each? And, and have a small pool, like what is your end goal? Because what that end goal is going to determine how you approach your marketing, right? Because your marketing and sales go hand in hand. So if you know what you want to sell and you know who you want to sell to, you need to build your marketing strategy around that goal. Otherwise, you're just wasting money and you're wasting time, and it's not going to do anything for you. And you're not going to have the ROI you're hoping for.
Yeah, so see, I'm glad you brought that up, because I think if the audience is kind of in the same mind frame as myself, that what the video component is kind of difficult, because I guess the only thing we see are the things that are like on Instagram and say TikTok, and that's not all there is to video, right? I mean, what you do a completely different kind of package. Can you go with that? Because I think that's one of the big misconceptions around video that I think that you can definitely help dispel.
Totally. Yeah. So you're right. We all see the ads, and we see, the TikTok, the Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn ads, and we think that's kind of the end all be all. But no, video is a tool like anything else, like your website, like your copy, all that stuff. They have to work together well to be successful. Yes, video is a great top of funnel attention grabber, and that's primarily what we offer and what we help people do, is just to drive traffic. But really, when you start to think beyond your personal one-on-one service, and you start thinking, what could you evolve into? There's a huge landscape out there of opportunity, and video is a big component of that. So what I mean by that is you don't have to only sell yourself as a one-on-one service, right? It doesn't have to be for every client that comes through. You have to take them on and you charge them X amount of dollars for your time per session, or on a retainer or otherwise. Like you can do other things that are either automated, create passive income, and are also kind of like the lower barriers of entry for your customer, right? Not everybody wants a personal coach, a personal trainer, someone who's going to charge a premium for that service. And that's a whole other thing we can get into, right? Which is you should be charging a premium, right? If you are going to do those one-on-ones, like don't charge $20 a session, don't charge $50. Like you're worth a whole lot more than that. And so part of what we help business owners do and what we help coaches do is start to create these products, right? Get out of the service, the one-on-one service, and create products. And what's great about a product is you create it one time, you automate it, and you sell it for cheap. You sell it for 20, 30, 40, $50, $100, find you, depending on what you're making. And you let that be this low barrier of entry that people can can access, they can buy, they can get a taste of what you do, what you're about. You don't give them everything. You give them just enough to be on the right path. And then when they learn that they want more and they love what they're getting and they want to step it up, well, now they can work with you directly. And now you can charge a premium for that. Right. And so you can get a lot more people to buy this product, get comfortable with you. You're making passive revenue and you're not having to waste all this time working with all these people and just burning through your day. And at the end of the day, you feel like you're not making a whole lot of money when you shake it out per hour. You automate all that. And then when you do have your handful of clients who really want your service, well, then you give them the VIP treatment and you charge accordingly. And these people are going to be more than willing to pay for it.
So Orlando, what does that look like initially? So that thing that you said that you're selling for 20, 30, 40 bucks, does that revolve around video as well? And then can you give us an example of what that might look like?
Absolutely. So the thing that I always recommend is come up with a 5-part video series. The foundations of your particular vertical, right? So so if you're a nutrition coach, do a 5-part video series. Each video be from 2 to 3 minutes long, so it's not a whole lot of information. And you break down different components, right? The do's, the don'ts. Five foods that are going to revolutionize your metabolism. You start making these little things that are little tidbits of information, and you say, look, here's our crash course on nutrition program. Let's call it whatever. We'll come up with a cool creative title. But you do that, you shoot the video, you make the content once, it's done. You now create a landing page where that you basically have people can go there. You have your ads direct people to that site. They can put in their information. They can buy it. It's all automated. Sure, you're going to have to hire a web designer to do a little e-commerce build out, but it's all upfront cost, right? And once it's built, it exists. It's there. It lives. And what's beautiful about it, you're getting that passive revenue, but you're also collecting contact information. So you're going to get their name, you're going to get their number, you're going to get their email address, because they're going to need to get that to give them the content. You basically say, fill out the form, give us your credit card information, you buy this, it's going to come to your email, and you're going to get these 5 videos every day for the next 5 days. Or you make it a portal that they can go to and they can watch all 5 right then and there, whatever, your preference. But what happens is now you have that information. Now you can start doing true marketing campaigns, direct marketing campaigns, retargeting campaigns. Now you can start emailing them little, we call nurturing emails, right? Yeah. Reminding them who you are, encouraging them along the way, saying, hey, you're on day 1. Thanks for signing up. This is going to be a nice kickstart to your system. We'd love to know how your experience is when it's done. Follow us on Facebook. Let us know how you're doing. Day 5 is done. The last video goes out. You just completed the 5-day program. Hope you're as pumped as we are. Let us know how you feel about this. Send us an email. Join our Facebook group. Now you have an excuse to reach out to people, right? And then you can keep, and at the end of all those, if you love what you're getting and you want more, give us a call. Give me a call. Let's chat. Let's see if a one-on-one coaching is right for you. So you have a reason, you have an in, and you just keep hitting them with that. And again, you automate it. This is stuff that you don't have to, think about. Like you can, there's so many tools out there, so many programs out there that you can make all these things one time, put them into play, and just let it go. And then you nurture them, you sell them. And then when they're ready to make the big purchase and really be worth your time, then there you go. You book that.
No, that's great. Yeah, I'm as you were explaining it, you explained it perfectly. I was following you the whole way around, and I've seen a lot of people do that, and I'm sure the success rates, given it that this video is even better than the traditional routes, but maybe just like I said, copywriting. There's brief, just Yeah, like just not that type of content. So yeah, I definitely get that. So I guess one of the things I've always heard of, at least a deterrent to many health coaches just starting out, is that video is expensive. Is that true? How expensive can it be? Is there a way to make it less expensive? And just familiar us with the pricing a little bit if you can.
Absolutely. So yes and no. Video absolutely can be expensive. Doesn't always have to be. But in terms of like when you're looking at your different marketing efforts, video tends to be on the higher end as opposed to like social media management, copywriting, web development.
Mm-hmm.
Although some websites can get pretty intricate and can get really pricey. But I think the big thing that I always try to focus on with people is, again, let's circle back to what is your end goal? What do you want to create? What is your ideal client? What is your ideal price point? I had this conversation with a coach earlier this year, and he works more in the like relationship space. He works a lot with like divorcees and kind of picking the pieces of life back up and kind of, navigating through that. And so it's kind of heavy stuff and a lot of emotionally taxing stuff. And his whole thing was like, I'm getting all these people. I'm talking to get a lot of leads, talking to a lot of people. I'm only charging $40 a session. But what ends up happening is now they have contact to me and then they're blowing up my phone all the time. Right. And it's, and they're struggling with, and it's weighty stuff, and it's like, it's emotionally taxing to me. I have way too many people. I'm not charging enough. Like, what do we do here? And so we talked through this process and talked about how, well, what do you want? And his goal was, I want to make $500,000 a year off of classes and a handful of VIP clients. Mm-hmm. Where I'm only going to give my number out to like 5 people at any given time, mm-hmm. right? And they'll have full access to me. Like, so he's thinking big time. Like those people are going to pay a good chunk of money for my time. Everybody else is going to have to be group classes, and everyone else is going to have to be like buying my products or my ebooks or whatever. Mm-hmm. Great. Okay, so let's create content around that. So your initial offering for your low entry, so your ebook, your group classes, things like this that don't cost you much and don't take too much of your time. We don't need to spend a ton of money on your production. Let's just get those ads up and running and start driving people there. And once it's built, it's done. Now, for these VIP clients that you want to charge 20 grand, $25,000 a year for, that's different. Okay. Mm-hmm. We need to put a little more effort into that. And because you're being a lot more selective, so you really need to step up your efforts to find those right people. So, you can do them in tiers. And again, knowing your audience in those first handful, like just kind of getting people to your ebook and things like just do it yourself. Like you don't need someone like me to come in and help you with that. Mm-hmm. Just get in a nice space, make sure you have decent lighting. You can use your phone if you have to, and just be yourself, talk about what you do. And that's that. When you start getting into the larger ticket items, yeah, you're going to want to step up your game. You're going to want to have a nice professionally looking shoot. Maybe you go out on location somewhere. Maybe it's, you have B-roll from different events that you're doing, and you're really stepping up your production value there. Because if you expect people to pay you large amounts of money, but your presentation is low dollar effort, right? There's going to be a natural disconnect. That doesn't mean you can't convert that. You might still be able to get people because they really want your service, they really like you, and they don't care what your presentation looks like. But generally speaking, there is a level of what I see is what I expect to get, right? When you see an ad, when you see a commercial, when you see a brand, how they present themselves generally lets you know what you're getting for your money, or what you expect to pay for that thing, right? Um,
Absolutely.
you don't see BMW, Mercedes commercials that are like cheap and cheesy and like people just kind of goofing around. They're always like, all the commercials are always this luxury look, right? This elegance and the people who own these cars, the lifestyle that they're living, like that's what they're selling you, right? And that's what you associate with that. So I'm going to spend some money, right? Same thing goes with your service and how you position yourself. But to answer your question, I circling all the way back to answer your question, it doesn't have to be expensive. There are things, again, just get started, right? Don't overthink it. Don't spend too much time in the planning process. Just go make something, get it out there, see how that works. Do what we call A/B testing. You do 3 different videos with 3 different messaging, and you see which one gets you the most traction. The one that gets you the most traction, great. You get rid of the other 2. Now you take that one, and then maybe you make 3 variations of that one, right? So now maybe it's just self-tape. Maybe you do one that's a little more professionally done. Maybe you do one that's in your office. Maybe that's one out in location, and you just kind of keep finessing it, and you keep tweaking it as you go until you find the ad that's converting really well for you. And then you just leave it alone. Run with that until 1, it's not working anymore, or 2, you want to take it to the next level and you want a higher, you want more traffic. And so you need to do something different that's going to help you get to that point. But don't overthink it. like just do it. I would say maybe if you're trying to do like a pre-recorded course, if you're trying to do that, like I said, that like 5-part video series, maybe put some money into that to help you make sure that presentation looks professional. But again, just don't overthink it.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And that's kind of one of the things that I tell everybody, even when they're interested in starting a podcast, like nobody's listening in the beginning anyway. So just get this done, get it out there and course correct as you go. And that makes a huge difference, because you got to trip up and fail a bunch of times before you really line it up right.
Absolutely. And, the thing is, like, you can't guarantee results. Even if you were to, even if you hired me, even if you were to hire me, I can't guarantee you the stars and the moon and that everything's gonna be perfect and you're going to be a millionaire by next year. It's just not possible. We just there's too many factors, unforeseen things, and so again, that's why you don't want to get hung up on it. And I mean, the same thing with you as a coach with your clients. Like, you can't guarantee anything. You can give them the best tools and the best insight, and you can coach them and direct them, but it's not always going to have the same result, right? Even if they do everything you tell them, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be this perfect end result. More often than not, it will. That's why you do what you do. That's why they hire you, but you can't ever guarantee that. So it's best not to get hung up in trying to get it perfect and get this guaranteed success. Obviously, you want to hedge your bets. Obviously, you want to do your best to make the most of your investment, to get the best return on your investment. But you just got to go. You just got to do it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So what about time commitment? I see, again, like my only experience with this is really just watching a lot of people who are on, you say, like the traditional ones, social media platforms. Like, do you like have a way like to repurpose content? Is it like something that you do in a shoot, like maybe in a day, and then you just kind of repurpose and repackage stuff? How does that work?
Yeah. So yes, that comes down to smart planning. Yeah, I absolutely recommend it, especially if you're getting into space where you're going to hire someone to help you with the production. You want to make the most of that time, get as much content out of that as you can. When I go out on a shoot with clients, in fact, we're doing this Friday, we try to shoot multiple videos in a given session because we're already there. We already paid for the gear, we paid for the time, paid for the space. Might as well take advantage of it, right?
Right.
So you want to do things where, one, you're going to shoot multiple pieces of content, but you also want to shoot content that's what we call evergreen, that's going to last forever. So right now, Christmas is around the corner. don't shoot in front of your Christmas tree because in
Right,
3 weeks that video doesn't make sense anymore.
right,
So
right.
so you got to be smart about things like that. Don't have any kind of visuals or any kind of language that anchors to a specific time, a specific holiday, something that's going on. There are some exceptions. If you're okay with doing a seasonal, very limited run video, and you're running a special or promotion, great, go ahead and do that. Just know that you're going to have a very limited window of opportunity to use it, and then once it's done, that's done, and that money's spent. But if you can create more evergreen content, you can cycle these things over time, or let them all run, or have them all live somewhere where people can access them, and it always stays fresh to the newcomer. And that's another thing that people get wrapped up in all the time, right? Let's be honest. At the end of the day, you and I, we say the same thing to everybody, right? All your audience, everyone who's listening, they know what they sell, they know what they offer, and they tell everyone the same thing. And so to us, we start to feel like nobody really cares, nobody's really listening, because I just keep saying it over and over again, and it's just like I'm not new, I'm not innovative, I'm not fresh. But none of that matters, because if somebody's coming to you for the first time, they've never heard it. It's new to them.
Right. Exactly.
So if you have all this content that you've created evergreen, and they can go through this library of content that you've created, it's all fresh and all new to them. And that's great, because that's a new sales opportunity. Right. And so we don't have to keep reinventing the wheel, and we don't have to keep trying to push boundaries. I mean, if you should strive for that if you can, and you have those insights, great, do that, but don't feel obligated to do so. Right. Be you, sell what you sell, do what you do.
Mm-hmm. That's great advice, because again, like, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to, like you said, reinvent these wheels that are, and that just gets frustrating because it's hard to reinvent anything out there. Honestly, I mean, it's really, like you said, you can only be yourself, and that's really what is the thing that you're selling. That's a part of our brand. So Orlando, you've been fantastic. I'm really excited to share this episode with the audience, but I know that you had something that you wanted to share as well before we cut out. So I want to give you an opportunity to do so right now.
Yeah, absolutely. First, before getting to that, just again, I want to thank you for having me on. This has been a lot of fun, and just I love having an opportunity to just talk video, talk shop. Like, obviously, I could nerd out on this stuff all day long. So I thank you for giving me a little soapbox to kind of preach from. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you did awesome.
Thank you. But yeah, so what I did is I came up with an offer for your audience. If they go to stellarlenseproductions.com/HCA, Stellar Lens Productions is my company. If they go there, they can sign up for, we're calling it a free 30-minute marketing assessment. So we'll get on a call. We'll talk about all the things we talked about earlier on. So, what's their goal? Who's your target audience? What are they trying to accomplish? What is their current sales volume? Where do they want to be? All that. We go through all this stuff. After that's done, we will send them this little questionnaire that they'll fill out. Apart from that, and from all that information, we will put together a custom marketing guide. And this is going to be kind of like ideal messaging, where you should be looking, what you should be investing in on your marketing front, your language, just kind of like, it's the roadmap, right? And then you can take that and run with it and see how that goes. So it's a little over $1,000 value there, but for your audience, it's free.
Wow, now that's really, really great value, and I can't wait to jump on it myself. I'm gonna do it for me.
Absolutely, let's do it. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah,
no,
but other than that, I would say, other than that, if you guys want to follow along with kind of what I got going on, you can follow me on Instagram, Orlando J Gomez. I kind of consider myself a working dad, so half the time you're going to see like stuff from production, stuff from set, business stuff, and the other half you're going to see my kids being my kids, because at the end of the day, it's what it's about. It's for them. So, and you and I talked about that earlier. You know how that goes.
Yes, absolutely. And that's one of the things, just want the audience to take a look at that Instagram feed. And again, like the website's awesome as well. There's just a lot of stuff that you showcase as far as your portfolio goes that just shows how talented you are and what the messaging that you do bring across through your platform. So definitely want to tell them to do that. And of course, take up on this offer, because it sounds like a really, really valuable tool. That's something that I know that without a doubt, some of these frameworks of even just getting into the nitty gritty about, who your audience is, who you should be targeting, makes it so much clearer moving forward in your business. So I definitely appreciate that offer again. Thanks.
Absolutely. My pleasure. Thanks again for having me.
All right, Orland, have a great rest of the day.
You as well.
Hope you enjoyed listening to today's episode of the Health Coach Academy podcast. If you did, jump over to iTunes and leave a rating and or review. It goes a long way in helping get this message out to our fellow health coaches and people in our industry. Also, if you can, jump over to my website, omarcumberbatch.com, where I give out a lot of freebies, including my 5-day sugar challenge for people who are having issues with sugar. And also for health coaches, I have the book, Hidden. It's the 6 not so obvious ways to get your clients unstuck. Have a great day.